Hello. I wish you outstanding success wherever you are located on our sweet planet Earth. Welcome to the channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about an iconic villain or anti-villain. But before I get into it, I always like to give a little clue or a little quiz about this anti-villain. This anti-villain, he's roughly, give or take a couple years, he's 30 years old. Number two, this villain, he basically only got one color to him, or it. See, that's the clue right there. I called it a him or it. So you're starting to catch on right now. Next, this villain, he is one of the greatest villains who our superhero has ever faced. Our superhero, when he fight this particular villain, he does not hold back in any way.
Continue straight
He
for
goes
20 minutes
full
to 16th
force.
Street.
Now, before I go over it, I want to try to know, when I record my channels or when I record my recordings, I like to record in the regular flow of life. So I'm in my car with my spouse. You may hear the GPS talking because I'm right outside in Washington, D.C., taking care of personal business. All right, so I'm going to tell you who he is if you cannot figure it out. And again, I said he, but it's really it. This person is the iconic Spider-Man villain called Venom. And luckily for me, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, I had the comic book when he first appeared by Todd McFarlane. I had the first villain, or first appearance of the so-called Venom, when he took the name on the Venom, because he was preparing, he was already available a year before that, or a couple years before that, but he changed his name to Villain when something happened. Alright, so I'm going to go over some of the facts about why people are so enamored with and love the villain character. My first list is he's a symbiotic life form. Up until that time, there were no symbiotic villains or entities in the Marvel Universe that I know of. He's so alien that he's basically a bunch of goo. If you study comic books like I did up until 1980s, all villains were humanoid. As far as I know, the Venom symbiote, he's the first one who's completely foreign to human life. He don't have nothing in common with a human being. He does not have no skeletal system. He does not have any skin. He does not have no, he don't have no circulatory system. It's a pure symbiotic life form that needs a host entity to survive. Up until that point in comic book history, whether it was DC Comics, Marvel Comics, Image Comics, or whatever comic book vendor that was out, even now to this very day, how many heroes or villains do you see have an symbiotic relationship with a foreign life form? And I got that book when Spider-Man got him on that Secret Wars planet. And when Spider-Man first got him, it was just a little sphere that can fit in his palm. That's how big Venom was. That alien costume. It was a sphere. A black sphere that Spider-Man had in his arm. Or he held it in his hand. That's how little it was. He held it in his hand. And when he held it in his hand, then this thing started oozing over him, disrobing his traditional red and blue costume, and encased his body in that black costume. Like I said, it's a complete different species altogether. There's no male, there's no female. The next reason why we love the Venom, because he has a love-hate relationship with Spider-Man Peter Parker. I got the what if books about what would happen if the symbiote never left Spider-Man. And those what if books, the symbiote drained Peter Parker till he became an old man. But you see, my good friends, in this 616 Marvel Universe, the symbiote loves its host. It will not suck you dry. So if Peter Parker had kept that symbiote life form, it would have been on him like it is on Eddie Brock. And that don't make no sense. Most symbiotes, and I say most, because some do suck you dry, but most intelligent symbiotes that's even in the human society, they do not suck you dry like a tapeworm. That's a symbiote. But they don't want to kill a host, does it? A flea or a tick is a symbiotic life form. They just want to get what they want and then they want to jump off of you. But it does not want to kill you. Once more, the majority of symbiotic life form don't want to kill the host. Like I know sharks, they have little fish stuck to them. Those little fish eat the waste or the shards that the shark don't eat. But they're a symbiote, but they don't kill that shark. Even animals like buffaloes and all that stuff, they have birds that live on their back. That's a symbiote. They have birds on their back, and the birds love living on their back. It does not want nothing to happen to their host. And if you remember, Spider-Man had that symbiotic costume for at least a good 2 years. Now, the only negative about that symbiotic costume, it did not let him go to sleep. It did not let him go to sleep. It would make him keep exercising and burn up his energy. Because it loved that superhuman body he has. See, Eddie Brock, he don't have no superhuman body. So the symbiote may let him take a little nap to regenerate. For all we know, Peter Parker as Spider-Man, he probably only need about 2 hours of sleep a night. But hey, that's my speculation. So it's a love-hate relationship. That symbiote loved Peter Parker. It would do everything it could to do when it was on him to protect him from any form of danger except for fire and sonics, because that's the only weakness it has, fire and sonics. But it loved Peter Parker. It loved him so much that when Peter Parker figured out how to get rid of him by having that bell make that sonic noise, that the symbiote was angry with him because Peter did not want him anymore like a spurned lover. It was angry because Peter no longer wanted to have that relationship. Because if you remember in the beginning, Peter Parker, he loved that symbiote. He didn't have to buy any more clothes because the symbiote would change to any form of clothing or shoes that he desired. So he probably said, hey, I can start saving my money now. I don't have to spend money on clothes anymore because I just make my costume or the symbiote change to whatever I wanted to change into. So it was a love-hate relationship. The only negative about this particular symbiote, it did not let Spider-Man take long, lengthy naps. And we start to see that in the books. He was starting to become tired and yawning. You know, as the issues went on, and was wondering why he seemed to be tired so much. Because the symbiote loved to burn off that adrenaline that he was giving off when he was Spider-Man. And when you become addicted, because to be Spider-Man, Peter was basically hyped up all the time. He was hyped up all the time, and the symbiote became addicted like a drug to that extra adrenaline that Peter was giving off when he was using his powers or when he was fighting those villains with that adrenaline pumping to him. The symbiote became addicted to that drug. See, Eddie Brock, he's just a normal human being. He cannot produce the amount of adrenaline that Peter Parker could have as Spider-Man. So That was the second one. It was a love-hate relationship. The symbiote loved him. The symbiote loved his body. It loved the energy that Peter was giving it when he was fighting that Spider-Man. It loved it. When he didn't want that symbiote no more, when he discovered that it was a symbiote by Reed Richards, he got rid of it. But it didn't want to let go until he used that bell in that Catholic church to create that sonic sound. Alright, the next one we love about it is one of the only villains or arch villains that ongoingly that evades Spider-Man spider sense. The only time most villains evaded his spider sense is like when the Green Goblin or the Hobgoblin created some type of special potion to numb his spider sense. And when it got numb, he was vulnerable to everything. Venom can evade that spider sense when it's going full force. Now, I discovered one thing Venom don't do. Venom never throw objects at Spider-Man. Because if he threw an object at Spider-Man, then the object is out of Venom's hand and his spider sense can detect it. So when Venom used it for Spider-Man in the past, he didn't ever have a stick in his hand or a club. He went with him with his own morphing body. So we love that Venom because this is one of the only creatures that can escape a Spider-Man spider sense undetected. It's one of the rare creatures who can sneak up on Peter Parker and knock him upside the head with a baseball bat without him even knowing it. So that's why we love him. The next reason why we love him, or it, because Venom can multiply. Now, I don't read comic books anymore like the way I used to, so the only offspring I know that Venom had was that Carnage, because it's so deadly. So it can multiply over and over. And I know it was one issue. I didn't buy the Spider-Man issues where the symbiote was multiplying all over the place. It can multiply. No other Spider-Man or any other superhero villain can multiply. Lex Luthor, he don't multiply. He may create a son or daughter, but it would take that son or daughter decades before they grew up to hate Superman. The Venom symbiote can multiply in a matter of hours and create a host. But it multiply when it feel like it, because it don't be multiplying all the time. But it can multiply and create offspring to additionally go up to Spider-Man. And that's another reason why we love it. It can multiply. My next and my final one is that it has unusual powers. In addition to the powers that it leached off from Spider-Man or Peter Parker, or basically it probably can mimic any host powers if it stay with them on them long enough. Like if it jumped on Captain Marvel and stayed on Captain Marvel for 1 year, it probably would mimic those powers. If it jumped on Thor for 1 year, it will probably inherit all of Thor's Asgardian powers. But those unusual powers it has, that it can create elongated limbs, it can make that giant Venom-like mouth with them sharp teeth in it, it can forge weapons that's strong enough to go through like weak forms of steel, from what I've saw. No other villain that I know in comic book is like that, where they can use their body to form weapons in addition to already having superhuman powers such as super strength, quick reflexes, agility, the ability to crawl walls. But I don't know if that's a superpower, because like the symbiote, whether it was on Spider-Man or not, it probably can climb walls regardless. Since it's an alien life form, it probably can stick to anything if it wanted to. So being able to stick to walls, that's probably not even a Spider-Man power. That's probably a native power. But that super strength And them quick reflexes, that's something it inherits from Spider-Man. So that's my take, good people, on why we may love Venom. If you got some other ideas, please leave it in the comments section about why you think we love Venom. And oh yes, there's one more reason too. Because he don't got no flashy, dashy costume. That's another one. No flashy, dashy, loud costume. Venom, or whatever form he's in, because now I think he's on Peter Parker's classmate, Flash Thompson. Yeah, I think he's on Flash Thompson, and it's not a villain anymore. But whatever human it decides to jump on, there's only one or two simple colors, black and white. And how many villains do we see like that in the comic books that got one or two colors? And the primary color just black. Most villains got flashy, dashy, stupid colors that will not work in real life. In real life, an individual could be Venom with just a pure black costume with a big white spider on it. That fits the real world. But that's my take. If you would like to leave a comment to add about why you think you like Venom, leave a comment. If you was happy with my discussion of Venom, give me a thumbs up.
Turn right on Alaska Avenue Northwest.
If you would like to share this with somebody else who's a Venom fan or a Spider-Man fan, be my guest to share it. Until the next time, keep enjoying Venom. And if you're reading comic books, keep enjoying reading your comic book.
In 3/4 of a